We host speedruns of over 1,000 games with forums containing speedrunning, planning, and marathon discussions. SDA welcomes gamers old and new alike. You can follow them on Twitter at SDA Speedruns and visit the website speeddemosarchive.com. SRL is the best site to race video games online against other players of all skill levels. They are also hosting a short series of races starting on January 17th titled Get Yourself Speedrunning. You can go to their front page, speedrunslive.com, for more information and to watch a variety of speedrun streams. For more information about Games Done Quick, you can follow @GamesDoneQuick on Twitter and see information about the event on gamesdonequick.com. Make sure to check out the awesome Games Done Quick Humble Bundle over at humblebundle.com. Pay what you want for up to 9 games, a Twitch Turbo subscription, a subscription to XSplit Premium, and exclusive merchandise, all while supporting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. That's www.humblebundle.com. We have a couple donations to go through as well. We have a donation from Brandon CQB for $15. Hey guys, third donation now. Didn't get to hear the others, so let's hope we hear this one. Glad to catch Zenernicus, as he was one of the reasons I knew about AGDQ, and it's cool to see him run Aperture Tag. Put this to save the animals, and like Wheatley, let's send cancer to the moon. To the moon! We have a $10 donation from Paul De Laurenti. My second donation to GDQ, so amazed how much we can donate when we are brought together for a good cause. Please give me a shout out. Way ahead of you. $50 from Yugen148. I've been watching a long time, ever since Frezzy's shirtless run. I have a job now, so let the money flow. Well, thank you for the donation. Not so sure about the shirtless run. We have $50 from FrankerZ57. That Franker Z, hey? I've watched AGDQ since 2011, and it's amazing how far it's come since then. Appreciate all the great work the runners and organizers do for charity. So just doing my part as well. Well, thank you for the donation. Another one of our sponsors is somethingartistic.net. They offer decals and stickers made to decorate your consoles, walls, computers, and more. $2 from every decal sold this week is being donated directly to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. You can find all their decals, including some designed just for AGDQ, over at decal.ly. Make sure to check them out. Right now we're setting up for a Grand Theft Auto Vice City run from AdamAK, so make sure to stick around.
While we're setting up, as a reminder for some upcoming donation incentives, we did recently add a bid war for the Ocarina of Time file name. There is an 8-character limit on that, and currently we have Bob for $50 and nothing else. So if you would like to get in a donation for the file name of Ocarina of Time right before the finale, you should go ahead and donate for that. As for what's coming up, we do still have the donation war between Pokemon Red or Blue for Worcester, as well as names for his Pokemon, the Abra, and after that there is a glitched run of Pokemon Green that needs $2,000 to be done. So those are some upcoming donations that are open to be bid for.
Yeah, sure. All right, cool.
I have a donation for you, Adam, if you're ready for one.
Come again?
I have a donation for you here, Adam.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, we're ready when you guys are.
Yeah, we have before we get started, we have a $125 donation from Dime.
Oh, wow.
He says, "When's speed mapping?"
Tonight's the night, man. Shout out to Don, really cool Doom runner. Glad to hear that he's actually tuning in at this awful hour. All right, you guys ready as well? Okay. Shall I give you a countdown? Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So this is Vice City Any Percent. This game has been broken horrendously recently. We always knew that there were, a whole bunch of glitches in this game, or that there was potential for kind of major glitches, but we never actually stumbled upon anything truly useful until fairly recently. At the start of this run, there's actually going to be a trick where I might reset the run, potentially. I'm going to try not to do so, of course. I'm going to be playing moderately safely as well to try and get this trick at the start, but it'll be a bit of an indication of what to expect from the rest of this run. Yeah, anyway, this run should take about an hour long. It used to be an hour and a half, and we saved off loads and loads of time by skipping a big chunk of the actual game. Whenever you see me drive a bike, I'll always be tapping the right mouse button, always leaning forward on them, because that speeds things up a lot. Okay, so as you might have noticed, I'm actually playing in French. At the start of a run, you always want to play in either French or German, because those versions are censored, and they don't have any rampages. So right here, where I'm walking right now, there's supposed to be a rampage, but there isn't one. I'm making a replay on top of the spot where you would normally encounter the rampage, and then I switch back to English because the English version is not censored. So the rampage is now spawned. And I'm going to be activating this rampage via this replay that I just recorded. And the idea is to start a mission and the rampage at the exact same time, around here. And I got it. Perfect. So I'm technically on 2 missions at the same time right now. I'm doing the rampage, which only lasts for 2 minutes, and I'm not actually going to bother to complete it, and I'm doing the story mission. So whenever you're on a mission or on a rampage, you can't start more missions or anything like that. You're kind of limited in what you can do. But as soon as the rampage fails, and it will in about 1.5 minutes, I'll suddenly be kind of freed up, and I can just pick up another mission if I want to. This means that I could also pick up the same mission twice at the same time. And in 99% of the cases, that just crashes the game or it causes a bunch of issues. But as it turns out, there are certain missions where it speeds things up considerably. So you'll be seeing one of those missions coming up soon. Okay. Whenever there's a passenger sitting on a bike, the bike actually behaves quite differently as well. So you have to get used to not only regular bike driving, but you have to get used to the physics of having a passenger on board. Like, it can slide a bit too far as well, which is unfortunate. Okay, so now I'm technically not on a mission anymore because I just completed a mission, even though the rampage is still running. This might sound a bit confusing, but hopefully you guys get the idea behind it. So, I'm able to start a new mission as well if I want to, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Back alley brawl. During this one, the rampage timer is going to run out, and I'll again be playing the mission, but the game will think that I'm not actually on a mission, which is, it's weird as hell. I have to reach a specific marker at Malibu here, this club, and if I reach it quickly enough, then I won't be teleported inside. I actually managed to barely make it there. If you'd be a little bit later there, like 2-3 seconds later at the club, you'd be teleported inside the club and you'd have to exit it twice for some reason. It just glitches out and you have to leave the building twice. At the start of this game, I guess the programmers didn't really expect you to have any good weapons, but they did put a shotgun at the park. So I just drive by there real quickly to pick it up. Oh yeah, you're supposed to have like a long cutscene with him and shoot him, but it's slightly faster to just drive into him. Okay, so as I said, the game thinks that I'm no longer on a mission, even though I'm in the middle of the mission. So what I can do here is start the rampage again by the replay. And again, it's going to take 2 minutes for this rampage to end. The reason why I started here is because I wanted to end exactly as I'm picking up the next mission, which will cause me to pick up 2 missions at the same time, and, well, you'll see what happens then. You'll see why it's useful in a speedrun. There's a minor chance that I'll be screwed over by bad traffic after this, because I have to get a good vehicle at the end of this mission to make it in time to the next mission marker. But, like in 99% of the cases, it works out fine. Okay, at the very start of the game, speaking of bad traffic, at the very start of the game, I arrived at the hotel very early, and that allowed me to skip a cutscene there. And this cutscene, well, there's one specific area in front of the hotel where you can trigger 2 cutscenes, and I'm triggering them both at the same time now, including the one that's supposed to happen at the very beginning, which allows me to regain control during the cutscene as well. It allows me to kind of jump in the correct direction already. Okay, I'm gonna go for this rancher here, which will hopefully still be fast enough. Okay, we should be okay. I've got about 15 seconds now to get to a point where I'm gonna pick up the first phone call. During Back Alley Brawl, I picked up the phone, and one of the major game mechanics in this game is that you do a lot of phone calls. We haven't figured out a way to skip it yet. It's happened to a couple of people before that they managed to skip these phone calls, but it seems to be a very arbitrary glitch.
Where are you now? You okay, Leo? You sound kinda different. Just tell me where you are. Who the hell is this? Put Leo on, man.
Okay, I'm playing a replay right now to stop the counter from going down too much, so that I can hopefully still jump into the marker at the correct time. 5 seconds is a bit low, but it should still work. Okay, so I'm picking up Jury Fury. and during the cutscene, I'm picking up the exact same mission again. So it's happening twice at the same time now. You know, that guy just got driven over already. Okay, I got on a Fadger real quickly here, this little bike, and suddenly I get teleported, this cutscene happens, and I'm going to pass this mission instantly. The reason why is that the mission is all about damaging 2 cars that belong to a couple of jury members to kind of, you know, scare them off. And since I triggered the mission twice, they spawned on top of each other, these vehicles, and in GTA, whenever a vehicle flips over, it just takes damage. It just catches on fire and becomes unusable. So even though one of the vehicles was on the other side of the map, it still flipped over, took damage, and I didn't have to bother driving over there and damaging it myself. So that saves about a minute and 20 seconds, roughly. It's a pretty big skip, actually. At this point, I'm supposed to start a riot outside this factory by punching a bunch of people, and then run inside and blow up these 2 vehicles. But instead, I just use a shotgun because I picked it up earlier on. And this is death abuse, teleporting to a hospital so that I don't have to travel back as far as I would normally have to. Especially since I didn't have a good vehicle over there. But even if you would have the fastest bike in the game, it would still save several seconds to do this death abuse. Another phone call incoming. Have to take this one at this spot because it makes the next mission available, which is pretty much right in front of me. It's quite convenient that there's a lot of bikes and fast vehicles all over the city with fixed spawn points, and one of them is right here. So exactly as this phone call ends, I'm going to be able to pick it up. Since I did blow myself up just a moment ago, I will have to pick up some new weapons. All I need is a pistol though, and I can find it right here. Terrible weapon, but it should suit me fine. I only need it for 2 missions. Okay, during this mission I'm going to take a bit of a weird detour to make another one of those replays. Instead of having one of those rampage replays where I trigger a rampage during a replay, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to make it in a seemingly empty spot. And in one of the upcoming missions, something is going to spawn right there, and I'll be able to pick it up instantly, and the game will teleport me there. So it's going to save me some driving time. And this is kind of on the way towards the mission destination that I'm doing right now anyways, so. But this spot looks empty, but there will be something there later on. Driving bikes is very dangerous in this game, because you can get knocked off of them very easily. Especially when there's angry drivers in the city, and there's tons of them. That just kind of turn left and right arbitrarily with no actual warning. It's quite likely that somebody is going to crash into you, or that you crash into somebody else. Crashing into people on a bike is very unfortunate. It costs up to 10 seconds, and it can cost you a bunch of HP as well, so hopefully I'll be able to avoid most of them. In this mission I'm expected to use the chainsaw, but I picked up a pistol, so, you know, it's slightly faster that way. I have to get rid of 2 wanted stars. There's a convenient cop right next to me, and the other wanted star should vanish on its own, unless I accidentally kill a cop or a pedestrian, which I will try to avoid. Okay, I'm going to drive a bit carefully in this area, because it tends to be filled with bad traffic. So far it seems alright. Another major mechanic in Vice City speedrunning is that if you use reverse camera, if you just flip it around like this, no traffic will spawn in front of you. The road will always be completely empty. So there's a bit of a trade-off between being able to see where you're actually going and, you know, having clear roads. I only recently started trying to use that as much as possible, and it's very difficult to work with, especially because the roads in Vice City are not smooth. There's a lot of bumps in them, and they can launch you all over the place. Instead of picking up that phone call, I just cancelled it. I still have to pick it up later on, but I'm just kind of postponing it. Okay. Next mission is a nice and short one. When you play this game normally, it can actually be moderately long. But if you skip a cutscene and you know exactly where to run, it turns out that you can skip a big chunk of this mission. So there's some French guy waiting for me up here, and he's supposed to give me some kind of package, but he gets scared off because the police start chasing him. And normally he runs towards this bike during a cutscene. I skipped the cutscene, ran right after him, and managed to kill him before he even got on the bike over there, which saves a lot of time. If you would get on the bike, I would also not have the weaponry to actually take him out. It would waste minutes, most likely. Alright. Next mission, and this is going to be the last mission for Cortez for now, and then I'm going to be moving on to the next kind of mission hub. So I made the replay earlier on. Play the replay now, and it just teleported me over to the garage where I pick up a pretty overpowered weapon. Alright. And now, with Lance sitting on the back, I have to jump across one of these walls again. This is a tricky one, and the worst thing that can happen is that Lance falls off the bike and gets stuck behind you. And then you have to drive all the way around, enter the garage again to pick him up. Fortunately, I got it first try. Making another replay here. I picked up some clean clothing, which might seem completely pointless, but it turns out that you can regain control over Tommy during cutscenes if you use a replay at the correct timing. And it's a very minor time saver. It saves a couple of seconds, but it also helps with consistency during this mission. It allows us to do one fancy trick. This mission is kind of auto-scroller-like, because you can't really speed it up much. You just have to wait for certain NPCs to spawn and take them out, and then at the end there's going to be a cutscene, and you have to chase two guys on a bike to regain this kind of stolen briefcase. So for the first part, there's very little that you can do to speed it up. I know exactly where everybody is going to spawn, and it's going to be fairly trivial to actually take them out. But just for shits and giggles, we always try to jump off this roof and take as little damage as possible. Sometimes you can even jump off and take 0 damage. Completely pointless, but you have to wait for a moment anyways. Alright, so the first two guys are showing up, and conveniently I just have to shoot forward and can take off their heads. Lance is completely useless during this mission. He never actually gets around to shooting anybody because they're always gone already. Never understood these guys. Like, if you see that somebody's attacking your car with a chainsaw, I don't think I would exit, but... Alright, let's see if I can get a double explosion on this car. For some bizarre reason, there's a glitch where cars can explode twice, for no apparent reason. Yeah, I got it. I don't know why it happens. It just does. Okay, so now I'm going to try and use this this cutscene glitch by activating a replay exactly as the cutscene is being activated as well. This is fairly tricky, but hopefully I'll get it. Yeah, got it. And now I can run around during this cutscene. You can't see me, I'm kind of off camera, but there I am. Hello? Okay, there we go. You can actually shoot them down during the cutscene itself as well, but that's kind of tricky because you can't really see where they are. Okay, unfortunately I didn't get the fast cutscene. I again regained control over this cutscene, and if you drive out of that alley quickly enough, you shorten the cutscene. Like, Tommy's last line gets triggered a bit faster than, which is, well, I mean, it's a time saver, you have to go for it. I couldn't really hear whether I was on my bike already, so I wasn't sure how to time it. Coming up next, I'm going to try and do one of the first glitches that was even found in Vice City Speedrunning. I'm going to drive into this thing, jump off. I actually did 2 glitches in one go pretty much, but the first one was that I jumped off the bike while driving into the wall, and that actually pushes you out of bounds, and the game kind of freaks out. It doesn't really know what to do with it, and just decides to put you at some kind of origin coordinates on this central island. Normally that phone call that I just took would open up the gate that I kind of zipped by. It's not a huge time saver, but it looks fancy, and it's still a time saver, so you have to go for it. You might have also noticed that I was sprinting during a phone call, which, if you've played the game, you'll know that it's not actually possible. You're not supposed to be able to sprint. You're also not supposed to be able to shoot. during phone calls, but we figured out a way to somehow, you know, regain that ability. Okay, it's kind of important that I avoid getting wanted stars around here because they can mess you up really badly. Okay, this mission is going to have an interesting ending as well, somewhat different from what you might expect. So this guy, you're supposed to chase him. He's way ahead of you right here, but since you've got infinite sprint, you can just keep up with him fairly easily and even overtake him. The way that infinite sprint works is that you tap the sprint button instead of just holding it down, and that's it. It's very, very simple. You just have to do it in the correct rhythm, not too quickly because you might still run out of sprint. So yeah, I'm already down here and he's going to jump up in a second. And I'm going to steal his car, the BF injection. I'm supposed to chase him in it, but I'm just going to drag the driver out. He's going to fall out of it, and then I'm going to block off the driver's side, and he's going to get inside. I'm going to start driving already, and then he can't kick me out anymore because I'm driving too quickly. This game has this mechanic where if the driver's side is blocked off, and you're driving at a certain speed, then NPCs just can't kick you out. So even though I'm supposed to chase him and he's supposed to be shooting me, I'm actually driving him to, you know, the place that I'm supposed to figure out through this mission. This is a very major time saver. Alright. Next up, I'm gonna clip inside of this bridge and get past this barricade to pick up a helicopter. That's a helicopter that we're going to be using for a long time. I just jump inside the bridge and with a bit of luck I'll be able to clip on top of it as well. Yeah, there we go. That doesn't always work. You can actually be stuck inside of the bridge sometimes, but it's easy to solve by just following the bridge, and at the end there's a huge gap, you fall out of bounds, and at some point the game just thinks, you know, whatever, I'll just put you back in bounds. I don't know what to do, Elf.
I'm looking for the money, Sonny. Don't worry.
There's a whole bunch of phone calls that we have to take during this run, and none of them are actually at inconvenient spots anymore. It used to be the case that we had to take them at kind of awkward locations, but it's a lot easier nowadays. I have to wait for the phone call to end as well before I get inside the helicopter, because otherwise the phone call is cancelled, and I'll have to retake it later on. For this phone call it wouldn't matter too much, but for some phone calls it can be pretty disastrous. You can lose, you know, more than a minute if you accidentally cancel it at the wrong time. Okay, helicopter flying is, well, you're going to be seeing it quite a bit now. You basically want to tilt forward as much as possible, fly close to the water but not close enough that you get sucked into it, which will happen. The main reason why the helicopter is so fast is because you can just fly in a straight line from A to B. You don't have to take detours or anything like that. The downside is that it's actually kind of tricky to control, and it can't take too much damage either. And I'm going to be using this helicopter for a very long time. Cool glitch coming up here as well. So even though this is an auto-scroller mission, it's actually become a lot faster over time. I'm given a helicopter gun, the M60. It's a very strong gun, but the firing rate is kind of crappy. It's not that fast. However, if I trigger the clothing replay, I can suddenly increase the firing speed considerably. And I suddenly regain free aim as well, so I could technically shoot Lance out of his helicopter now if I wanted to. Wouldn't be the best idea over water, but I've got the freedom to do it.
You have time for a quick donation here, Adam?
I guess you might be able to fit in half a donation if you want.
We have $5 from Refridi, who says, "Hey Adam, working on way too little sleep, but he definitely wanted to catch your run. Good luck, mate. Make the Master System crew proud."
Oh, I will. Next year's AGDQ is going to feature at least 50 hours of Master System games, Maiku Yamato. But yeah, the reason why this glitch is so useful in this mission is that it becomes a lot easier to shoot these guys. The aiming is awful here, because the helicopter just switches around a lot. And via this increased firing speed, I don't have to aim as precisely anymore. I can just kind of, you know, abuse the spread of the bullets. I can also blow up vehicles more quickly here, and vehicles are easier to aim for than individual people, so... I think I missed one of them back there. There we go. Yeah, one was still alive. There we go. That was alright. This mission works in kind of cycles. Lance is always flying back and forth in the helicopter. And you want to make sure that you don't catch an extra cycle, because sometimes you could be... like, there could be no enemies left and you're still flying back and forth there. just because you accidentally triggered an extra cycle. Okay, since I shot those 3 guys, the cutscene was sped up. And now I shoot Lance, kill him, exit the helicopter faster. So Lance is dead right now. Mission is not failed though. Alright, and now Lance is just picking me up again. So even though the helicopter crashed and I killed Lance, he's conveniently picking me up again. That trick that I just did, where I shoot Lance out of the helicopter, it actually saves time, but there's a chance that it would softlock the game as well. If you shoot him like 0.1 seconds later than I just did, you would be stuck inside the helicopter. You would not be able to just jump off like that. Okay, nasty trick coming up here. I really don't like doing this. Getting past the wall. Okay, fortunately it worked out. Very easy to get stuck on that wall, and then like you have to reverse out of there and try again, or take a detour and just, you know, drive the way you're kind of intended to drive. This mission is all about stealing a boat. There's supposed to be, you know, kind of fancy mechanic where you lower the boat first. Well, you have to kill all the guards first. You have to lower the boat into the water, and then you get inside and you kind of head off out of there. But as it turns out, you can enter the boat straight away. The way that boats work in this game is that you have to stand within a certain radius of them. And if you press the vehicle entry button, you just get teleported inside. As it turns out, it works out perfectly over there, and you can just enter it through a gate. It looks like a glitch, but it's actually using intended game mechanics, so it's not really, well, I guess technically it is kind of an intended strat, as odd as it may seem. We used to drop into the boat with a helicopter before as well, which was a bit of a fancier strat. This one is a lot nicer. Okay, very important that I don't bump into anything right now, and that I reach the mission marker as quickly as possible, because there's a phone call being buffered right now, and I don't want to take it. It's a long phone call, and cancelling it would be slow, taking it would be even worse. Ideally, I just want to take it later on when I'm actually running around for a longer time anyways. This is easy to make, but, you know, if I was like 1 second later there, I would have gotten the phone call anyways. Okay, another mission with Lance. In this mission, funnily enough, you can actually kill Lance as well if you want to, at the very end. I'm not going to do so because there's a slightly faster strategy that I'm going to use instead. But yeah, you're supposed to take this route through some canals here on the right, in between these islands, and reach some kind of drug deal as quickly as possible. But I just take a detour and arrive there way ahead of everybody else. And then all the other drug dealers get pissed off at me and they try to kill me, but I'm going to use the clothing replay glitch again to increase my firing rate a bit, and I'll take them out in a matter of seconds. Yeah, now Lance is taking over and I'm supposed to shoot them all down. I'm going to trigger this replay, and suddenly this machine gun that's normally not firing this quickly becomes one of the strongest weapons in the game. Yeah, so in this section they're essentially supposed to chase you down and you're like trying to shoot them down, and but yeah, with this overpowered weapon it becomes a little bit easier. Still an auto-scroller section. Sadly there's no way to speed this up. You can softlock the game. Actually, can you softlock the game? You can almost softlock the game here as well. Lance is a very poor driver, and sometimes when you shoot one of the captains of these boats down, Lance will just crash straight into the wreck, and you can actually flip the boat upside down and make you drown, or you can flip the boat upside down and make you land on one of these bridges. I don't know how he pulls that off, because it's actually pretty difficult, but he can. Managed to shoot the pilot out of the helicopter, by the way, but doesn't help much. The reason why I don't blow up this boat is precisely because Lance will just crash into it, and he could potentially flip the boat over and land on this bridge if I do that, so I'd rather just play it safe and wait for a moment. Wouldn't want to lose the 2 minutes that this mission takes. I can blow him up now though. Okay, and as soon as I'm going to be triggering this cutscene here, I'll trigger the replay first for the clothing changing, and that will allow me to regain control during the cutscene, so you'll just see me run off screen. This should be good enough. There we go. Oh. And I'm trying to run in a specific direction, which is difficult because I can't see where I'm going. And I don't want to fall into those tiny swimming pools, because it takes a while to actually jump out of those. But I managed to run to a very nice spot. So, we're done with Diaz now. We've finished all his missions. It's time to move on to one last Cortez mission. And then we're going to be all over the place. This next mission revolves around me stealing a tank, which is surprisingly easy. First time I played this mission, I thought I had to almost mow down an entire army, but it turns out that you can actually do it with a pacifist strat, or even, well, or you can shoot one guy, and that's the fastest strategy to actually use it.
Okay, look, senor, I believe you are a man who can get things done. Please help. You can find me at the boat, huh?
Once again, the helicopter saves a whole bunch of time on this mission just because you can fly in a straight line. Fortunately, this helicopter hasn't taken any damage either, so it's doing quite well. The worst thing that can happen is that when you are landing the helicopter, that you get stuck on a tree with the rotor blades, and usually it will just catch on fire straight away. The helicopter takes loads and loads of damage then. The unfortunate thing is that you have to land in between trees fairly regularly, or fly in between trees as well, if you want to actually take a kind of optimal route. But with enough practice, this tends to work out just fine. That's a decent enough spot. Okay, so there's the tank, shooting down the driver. For some bizarre reason, this guy decides to exit it, and then you just casually walk inside. Tanks are bulletproof, they're fire... Well, no, they're not fireproof. Fire is the only thing that can actually hurt them. But they're bulletproof, you can crash into stuff and the other vehicles will explode, but your tank will be unharmed. And funnily enough, this is one of the fastest vehicles in the game as well. You might have noticed that I'm shooting behind me. This increases my speed. It just pushes me forward a little bit. So if you drive on a very long straight stretch, you can keep on shooting behind you, and you can keep on increasing your speed up until a point where it's just uncontrollable. It's ridiculously fast. You can also use this to do really amusing, unique jumps at certain spots. Okay, I'm going to be making a new replay here. I had the clothing replay earlier on, but I'm going to be switching it over to, again, a seemingly random replay. I'm going to be standing on top of this marker, where you can purchase this this asset, and I'm not going to purchase it just yet. I don't have enough money for it either. It costs 70,000. Instead, I'm going to be purchasing it in about 15-20 minutes, and I'm going to be buying the thing from the other side of the from the other side of the city, and it won't even cost me any money. I'll be getting it for free instead of paying 70,000. This was a glitch that was found back in August, I think, late August if I remember correctly, and that actually kind of sparked the whole, a whole, testing session among all the runners where we found all kinds of new glitches as well based on these replays. Originally, all that trick allowed us to do was skip Comb Crazy, which was an incredibly boring and frustrating method of raising money. The missions in this game don't really give you enough money to buy all the assets that you have to buy, and Comb Crazy was the only method of doing it. But fortunately that is gone. It's reduced the resetting rate at the start of the run considerably as well. It's just become a lot more fun to run this game again.
It was found while we were at ESA, Adam.
Was it?
You can't hear me, can you?
I thought it was right after ESA.
It was while we were there, because IDCOD was mad.
Oh, could be, actually. But yeah, it was huge, and it saved us half an hour. Game has been completely rerouted, and all kinds of new stuff has been found. Okay, in this mission, Lance has been captured. Lance is a complete idiot throughout the game, and all he does is just mess you up. And he got himself captured. I have to save him now. And it's fairly easy. If you would do this with a car, it would be a lot more difficult. Basically, he's being held hostage in this big complex. It seems like some kind of trash site. I don't know what it is precisely, but there's a lot of enemies there, and they've got pretty powerful weapons as well. I'm going to be skipping most of them by simply taking the helicopter and landing pretty much at the very end of that area. All those guys will start running towards me, but if I'm fast enough, I should be able to prevent them from getting too close to me. I have to be a bit careful with the helicopter landing here. It has to be in the correct spot, otherwise it would actually despawn, and that would be pretty disastrous as well. I kill these 4 guys because they can kill Lance as well. and that would be a very bad thing.
My careful planning blown to shit. Thanks to you. You screwed up real good, Lance. You killed
So yeah, I'm just gonna guide Lance back to the helicopter, which is more difficult than it might seem. He has a tendency to get stuck behind absolutely everything. If I would just sprint back to the helicopter as quickly as possible, then he would just get stuck inside this building, and you know, he would either die or you might be blown up in your helicopter. I'm constantly checking whether he's actually still behind me. What happened to me recently was that my helicopter was slightly tilted. I parked it a bit awkwardly, and Lance just decided to jump into my rotor blades and kill himself. So that's pretty much his AI in a nutshell. He does everything he can to kill your runs. Ever since I started running this game, he's just been killing runs and nothing else. Once you've picked up Lance, there's actually a couple of comets filled with gang members chasing you, and they try to kill you. They try to like ram your car and destroy your car and kill Lance actually. But if you fly the helicopter, that's not difficult. If you fly the helicopter instead towards the hospital, then they'll get aggroed pretty much as you're arriving, and then it doesn't matter anymore. You might have noticed that I exited and entered the helicopter there as well. That's because, for some bizarre reason, if you don't do that after a mission, if you don't re-enter a vehicle, it can despawn. And I want to use this helicopter for a few more missions before it goes out of commission. I'll be ditching it after I've done all of the Vassetti Mansion missions. So yeah. This game, as I mentioned, it got really broken, mostly because of the replays. It's so broken, in fact, that a lot of content that you're really supposed to be doing in the kind of second half of the game, after you've taken Diaz out, is no longer necessary. What you're supposed to do after you kill Diaz is that you build up this empire. You get all kinds of assets, you complete missions for these assets, and then at some point, Sonny gives you a phone call saying that, you know, he wants some of your money, because you're a bit too successful for his liking. But instead of building this entire empire, I'm actually going to be doing the same mission 5 times at the exact same time and confuse the game into thinking that I've done 5 different missions. And that will allow me to skip a lot of the remainder of the game. Anyway, first of all, got to kill Diaz. I'm looking at the floor most of the time. That's not because this is, you know, a terrible speed game and I have to reduce lag or anything like that. It's simply because the AI is dumb, and for some bizarre reason, when you look at the floor, they don't shoot you as much. So I've taken only... oh no, Lance is going to die. Okay, that sucks. Maybe he's going to survive? Okay, that sucks as well. I triggered the cutscene there accidentally. You can bounce off the wall sometimes, and then you hit the trigger for the cutscene. Yeah, Lance is dead. Yeah, that's an example of Lance just screwing everything up. Can't do much about that. You know, you always take the same route running into the building, and sometimes he just messes you up. Okay. So let's just try this again. Due to the fact that Lance died, there's going to be a new glitch happening here. Not a useful glitch, completely useless actually. It's not beneficial. It's kind of weird. I'm going to be entering this mansion, but for some bizarre reason the geometry just glitches out, and I'm going to be exiting it first. So I just entered the mansion twice, and now I'm suddenly inside. I don't know why this happens. It's strange. And one of the guys is missing? What? That threw me off. Okay, there was supposed to be another guy over there, but he didn't spawn. Okay, I'm just going to play this differently now. Just going to shoot him from over here, not going to run all the way around. You can skip this cutscene if you run all the way around and then you just chainsaw Diaz to death, but I'll just use the old strategy instead. Alright. So, now that Diaz is dead, I'm basically taking over the entire city, starting with his mansion, and slowly going to turn myself into a bit of a millionaire. Health-wise, I'm actually doing surprisingly well. I only took 47 damage despite doing the same mission twice, so that's pretty good. And yeah, my helicopter is still here, and I'm going to use this one to fly to a shopping center and shoot a bunch of windows. Because a bunch of shopkeepers think that they can get away with not paying me any protection money, and I'm going to prove them otherwise by just destroying their stores. Yeah, got to fly in between trees here, fairly risky, but if you know where the trees are, then it tends to work out just fine. If you crash into a tree though, it can be like run destroying.
I have a couple more quick donations if I have time, Adam.
You've got time for another half of a donation if you want.
Okay, here's a fast one. Rezi donated $15. It says, Adam, try not to get ultra copped. Have fun.
You know, I wouldn't even mind if I got Ultra Cup during a live run. For those who are wondering, Ultra Cup is... We've given kind of nicknames to the cups in this game because they sometimes do absolutely incredible stuff. And Ultra Cup is when a cup teleports towards you and drags you out of your car even though you're driving at full speed. Which is truly impossible, but they somehow pull it off. Okay, this guy is being a bit of a dick, but he's not a Super Cup, not an Ultra Cup, nothing like that. Wow, are you kidding me? Okay. The HP for these windows, we haven't figured out how it works. It seems completely random, because sometimes you shoot like 5 bullets at a window and it'll break. Other times you need, you know, 25 bullets or something, and it still won't break. It's very bizarre. These cops are being a huge pain in the ass. I lost a lot of HP here so far. But that's alright. I trigger a replay every time I'm low on ammo, because that instantly reloads you know, all my ammo. I don't have to do a manual reload. Saves me a little bit of time. 68 HP should be okay for the rest of the run, but just for safety I'm going to pick up some extra HP. I entered this helicopter without opening up the door because for some reason the game thinks that the door is already open. But I can close it again if I want to as well, like so. That tends to happen after you've used replays. No idea why. To me it kind of seems like replays were a feature that they programmed in like half an afternoon and forgot to kind of remove. Replays are also PC exclusive. You can't do a lot of these strategies on, let's say, PlayStation 2 because there is no replay feature. It just doesn't exist. Which is unfortunate. But running this game on a console is awful in general. Would not recommend it. The free aim and better movement on PC is necessary to actually run this properly.
Tommy, son, have I got a surprise for you? I'm down at the recording studios with some major artists. Why don't you pay us a visit? You know
I'm going to pick up some health over here. It cost me like 2 seconds or something, so it doesn't matter too much. And I'm actually not going to use the helicopter for this mission. It's slightly better to use the car instead. Supposed to grab those 2 AIs with me as well, but I just ditched them. I don't need them. It's a waste of time to wait for them. They would not help me out during the mission. Gonna break up my door by grinding against this rail. Not having a car door speeds things up a little bit because you don't have to open it up or close it whenever you're driving, or whenever you want to start driving. So we actually do that as often as possible. There's only a few areas where that works conveniently in Vice City though, because you need a bit of a, you need like a flat wall to kind of grind against, and sometimes even then it won't be knocked off. You can also punch off doors if you want to. You punch a door 3 times and then it just falls off. Tommy's a pretty strong guy. Driving over them is the fastest way to take them out. Skipping this cutscene because it's irrelevant. And yeah, even though this game, the game gives you a 5-minute timer for this mission, you're only going to need like 1 minute anyways. They're being extremely generous, which is actually true for a lot of missions throughout the game anyway. Okay, I'm going to try and not aggro these guys. I'm just going to blow up a car, which kills almost all of them. And then there's one last guy that I have to just drive into. I've only got 1 wanted star, which is pretty good. I've had 2 or 3 wanted stars here before. 2 happens fairly regularly. And the issue with that is that the cops start chasing you pretty badly then, and they can actually destroy your car during the cutscene as well. Lost a lot of runs to that, sadly, where I was having a nice run and then a cop shows up and just wrecks my car. Okay, mission pass text is incredibly annoying in this game because it blocks off my entire view. I can't really tell while I'm driving. It used to be a big issue when I started running this game. Okay, want to avoid getting wanted stars right here because there's a phone call I want to take. Since the game has become so short and the number of phone calls that you have to sit through has not changed, we kind of have to cram them into somewhat awkward spots. I'm just getting out of my car here, for instance, to take a phone call. There is unfortunately no better spot to take this one yet. Same is true for the next phone call that I'll be taking as well. Okay, coming up next is the mission Copland, a very RNG heavy mission. One of the few actually. Most of the RNG in this game has been removed, or reduced to just, you know, traffic RNG. But I gotta get 2 wanted stars early on. I got well, okay, there's a couple of gang members here. Even though they're my gang members, they still give me wanted stars anyway if I shoot them down. And there's a few more over here. Okay, got my 2 wanted stars. Now I'm gonna take the helicopter and just fly straight to the target. The reason why I get 2 wanted stars is because I'm supposed to steal a cop uniform. Well, 2 cop uniforms actually. And by getting these 2 wanted stars, I just draw 2 cops into a trap and steal their uniforms. Without the 2 wanted stars, you could still get 2 cops inside the trap and steal their uniforms, but it would be a lot more difficult and it would be infinitely less reliable. So this is by far the best way to do it. You're going to land my helicopter around here. Hopefully the cops won't crash into it during a cutscene as well. That can happen. You can lose this heli sometimes. I heard a car coming in this direction. Okay, fortunately it worked out.
Tie him up again.
And yeah, the police just completely forgets about me. Like, pedestrians are not the brightest. Okay, let me check. My heli's still here. I'm going to punch Lance now, and I'm going to take off with this helicopter. And I'm actually going to leave Lance behind. So the punch has a purpose. It's just to make sure that he doesn't reach the helicopter on time. He tries to open up the door, but he's too slow. So the game tells you that you're supposed to have Lance with you, but it turns out that you don't. You can just ditch him, and it skips a couple of lines of dialogue. Very short dialogue, but you know, any time saver is worth going for in this game, especially given how optimized it is. And now you're going to see the shortest 5 seconds in the game.
Okay, timers are set. 5
And lo and behold, Lance is going to be right behind me. Okay, he didn't get stuck inside the mall. That happens sometimes. You can just walk into a door and can't figure out how to actually use it. Fortunately, that didn't happen. And we can fly out straight out of here. With 5 wanted stars, by the way. Driving a car out of here would be... It's... You know, once you're experienced, it's not that hard, dodging the cops. But I remember on my first playthrough, it was kind of tricky. Because at 5 wanted stars, they really want you dead. They'll do anything to kill you. But with a helicopter, you just fly, you know, over them, and even these guys in the boats can't shoot me either. Though they still try. This is the last mission for the Versetti Mansion. I'm basically done with the first asset then. And I'm going to do the second one, which is Boatyard. The mission is called Checkpoint Charlie. Horribly nasty mission. Hopefully I won't have to show you why. Oh god, this glitch. Okay, thank goodness. Yeah, Tommy and Lance are not the brightest. What can also happen is that Tommy just runs into the door a couple of times and then decides, oh, I should just go around it and enter the mansion instead. Okay, I'm going to be ditching the helicopter in a moment. Pretty much done with it now. Won't be using helicopters in the future either. Parked a little bit awkwardly, but I should be able to take off here without crashing into my house. Yeah, we're good. Doing well health-wise as well, so all is well right now. But yeah, coming up next is probably my least favorite mission in the entire run. Checkpoint Charlie can mess you up for all the wrong reasons. The physics in this game are not incredibly reliable, especially when you're using boats and you try to jump out of the water using rams. This is another one of those phone calls that's kind of awkward. It doesn't really fit anywhere in the run because there's too little content that we have to go through. So this is the best spot to take it. Perfect timing right there, because I reached the marker exactly as I finished the phone call. There's 2 boats here. The left one is faster than the right one. It's also a bit less reliable, I find. I prefer using the right one, but you know, since the left one is faster, we have to go for this one. And okay, so this mission involves picking up all these packages. I'm actually going to try and pass by the side of all these packages because they can be solid for no apparent reason. That happens to a bunch of objects in this game. They can just be solid, even though you're supposed to clip through them and pick them up. Money included. You can, you know, drive over a pedestrian, they drop money, and it suddenly becomes solid. Okay, aiming straight for this ramp. First one is good. Second one is good as well, thank goodness. Yeah, so this can happen, sadly. This is not the worst case scenario though. It's only the last ramp, so that's not too bad. I can still readjust and still finish the mission on time. Ideally, you would go over all three, you know, and pick up the packages straight away.
Go on, Adam.
Okay,
Yes.
thank goodness. There was a long time where we would actually lose world record pace runs to this specific mission just because of those ramps. We could never figure out why they're so inconsistent, because, I mean, if you approach them at the same angle at max speed, it should always be the same, but sometimes you fly over the packages, sometimes you don't even fly over the pier and you just get stuck on top of it. You know, your boat flips over or just gets stuck on it, and you have to wait for 2.5 minutes or drown yourself to restart the mission. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Haven't gotten any solid packages yet. In a few areas they can be very dangerous because they can launch you out of the water and make you fail the mission as well. But it seems like I'm fairly lucky in that regard so far. Random boats can also show up and block you off. That's particularly bad before you arrive at the ramps, because they can mess up your angle, and then it's less likely that you'll actually succeed in getting both the package and flying over the ramp. An ideal finishing time for this mission would be about 48 seconds on the timer or so I lost about 20 seconds from just that one ramp, which is actually not as much as I thought it would be. But yeah, that's the second asset completed. There's only one left, which I'll be doing 5 times at the same time. Now, if you remember, earlier on in the run, I made a replay where I was on top of a marker near the asset Printworks, and I'm going to buy that one right now during a replay and teleport right over there. It's telling me that it cost me $70,000. I haven't spent a single penny on it. It was completely free. So this is one of the very last missions that we're actually already doing in this run, getting relatively close to the end. The next mission is going to be very interesting to watch though. I'm pretty sure that everybody will agree with that. Gonna shoot the taxi driver just to steal his taxi after he drives me. There we go. If you shoot him long enough, he's guaranteed to exit the taxi. Sometimes, I mean, in some situations you can shoot him with one bullet and he'll exit as well, but that's less reliable. It's better to, you know, spend those couple of frames and get some consistency in here. All right. Gonna switch over to a bike. It's a lot faster of a vehicle compared to the taxi. A lot less reliable as well, sadly. I can't take it any more flicky. Okay. Okay. Pedestrians are very dangerous when you're driving a bike. If you crash into a pedestrian, there's one of 3 things that can happen. Either the pedestrian gets launched into space, they just fly up really incredibly high. Alternatively, you can be launched off your bike, and the last option is that you get launched off your bike and then get driven over by your own bike because it somehow catches up to you. And that can actually kill you. So, yeah, driving bikes, you just have to be very careful with them. I'm playing it moderately safe. I'm not driving at max speed all the time, and I'm not, you know, taking the riskiest turns just for the sake of actually being able to finish a run. We used to kill all the guys on this boat because they do 14 damage per shot, which is a lot of damage. But we just run all the way to the top and enjoy this beautiful cutscene here. It's by far the fastest interrogation ever, I think. And then you can just jump off the boat. Fall damage is minimal in this game. You can jump off the tallest skyscraper in this game and it'll do like 17 damage or something. What's even better is that it's dealing damage to your armor. So, you know, you'd think you're breaking your legs or something, or, you know, you should be crushed. But instead it just damages your armor, you know, like a bulletproof vest. Okay. Oh. Okay, I thought I was going too fast, but I managed to get a fancy war ride instead. Uh-huh. I'm just gonna run. Okay, so that's that mission completed. I'm gonna make a save now, and the next section is gonna seem fairly weird, but I'm gonna explain what I'm doing. I'm gonna overwrite this save real quickly. That's the top save. Okay, in-game timer is at 17:20ish roughly. I'm gonna wait for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, before I make a new replay, and then I'm going to reload that save. It's going to be a Rampage replay, because Rampage replays are used to duplicate missions. You can start them, you know, as I did at the start of this run, I did Jury Fury twice, and it passed the mission instantly. In this case, it's not going to pass the mission instantly, but it will permit me to complete the same mission 5 times at the same time. And since this is the last mission for this specific asset, the game will think that I'm actually completing 5 assets at the same time, not just 5 missions. Which means that I'm basically done, according to the game, with building my empire, and I can activate one of the last missions in the game. That was a nice blister right there, trying to crash into me. These are the pissed-off drivers that I was mentioning earlier, by the way. They just drive around chaotically and, you know, fairly unreliable. But yeah, I have to wait for about 2 more minutes, so I'm just gonna enjoy the out-of-bounds scenery and such.
I've got another really quick donation for you, Adam.
Yeah, sure thing.
Jordan2 donated $20 and just said, Adam, tender love.
Tender love to you too, man. So yeah, the in-game timer, every minute according to the in-game timer is 1 second in real time, so I can use that as a reference throughout the run as well. It's very convenient. And I can tell, for instance, that I'm about like 40 or 50 seconds behind PB at this point, which isn't even that bad. Not that my PB is great, because I never finish runs, but this is a surprisingly decent run, especially for a marathon. But yeah, there's a Molotov Rampage that I'm going to be picking up, and I'm picking up a Molotov Rampage specifically because it'll allow me to throw a Molotov at a helicopter, which speeds things up a little bit. The Rampage spawns right here. I can take phone calls in the meantime if I want to as well. It doesn't really matter because I have to retake them later on anyways. Now, as I was explaining earlier on, I made one of these Rampage replays as well, and I triggered Jury Fury twice with it. However, I didn't fail the Rampage instantly. I had to go through a couple of missions first before I even failed the Rampage and like picked up the mission twice. Now, as it turns out, if you make a replay that is at least 2 minutes into the future in game time compared to, let's say, a save point, and you reload the save and then you start playing the Rampage, you can instantly fail a Rampage as well. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do. It sounds weird. You'll see in a moment what it looks like in action. Basically, I can pick up a Rampage, play the same replay, and the game will think, oh, more than 2 minutes have passed, hence you failed the Rampage. Which allows me to trigger it again and duplicate another mission, etc. So this should be about right around here. I'm playing it fairly safe. Normally I don't wait this long. But yeah, going to reload the save, and I'm going to pick up this mission several times. This might take a couple of tries. It's difficult to do this correctly. So there's the first time. And I'm going to do this 4 more times. There's number 2, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. So I'm constantly failing the Rampage. There's number 3. This might be too late. Yeah, this is too late. So unfortunately I have to reload the game now, because I only duplicated the mission 3 or 4 times, and that's not enough. So I have to reload. This is always unfortunate in PB attempts when you get this far, but it's difficult to do this very consistently. Triggering it too early is not too big of a deal, because I can easily cancel it as well. Triggering it too late is the worst thing, because then I'm stuck inside the mission and I can't trigger it again. But yeah, you have to do this 5 times in a row perfectly. It's kind of tricky. So that's number 3 already. That was almost number 4. Okay. There we go, that's number 4. So 1 more to go, and then I'm going to fail the Rampage again, so that according to the game, I'm no longer in a mission again. This is going to be tight. I might not actually make it time-wise. I might have to retry this again, because I'm missing it fairly often. Okay, I've duped it 5 times now, but I might not be able to fail the Rampage. Let's see. Still made it. Going to make a new replay over there. Again, a seemingly empty spot, but as it turns out, there's going to be a safe spot over there, and I'm going to be using that to teleport back to the building really quickly later on. Okay, so in this, right now the game is just freaking out. It's in a horribly glitchy situation. I've triggered the same mission 5 times at the same time, but at the same time the game is confused into thinking that I'm not on a mission because I failed a Rampage, which allows me to take phone calls. Normally you can't take phone calls during missions, but now I can. I can also pick up another mission if I wanted to, although that would crash the game, so I'm not going to bother. There's no vehicles on the road anymore. There are no pedestrians. There are no police officers anymore. The city has just turned into a ghost town, basically. This is a fixed spawn. This is a fixed car. Thank goodness that it's here because it's nice and fast as well. It's a cheetah, one of the fastest vehicles. Without this, it would be a huge pain in the ass to actually complete the run. But okay. I'm going to show you guys just how glitched this run is. This is actually a waste of a couple of seconds, but it looks fairly entertaining, so... Okay. As I mentioned earlier on as well, during phone calls, nobody can attack me. This is the longest phone call in the game, takes about 53 seconds, and I use it during this mission so that all the enemies that spawn during the mission can't attack me. And there's a lot of them. Look at this lady, for instance. There's 5 people spawned at the same spot, so there's... I don't even know what that is. These cars, parked very nicely as well. Gonna throw a Molotov on that chopper so that they exit faster. And I'm gonna grab these plates. You have the plates? Okay, perfect. I bet Chad is currently spamming something about forgetting plates, which didn't happen, fortunately.
You hear me? Do you hear me?
So yeah, just have to wait for this phone call to end, enter the vehicle again, and then I'm gonna drive off.
Don't be like
And it was perfectly safe. I took a little bit of damage. I think it was from the fire, but you know, I've got most of my HP left still. Alright, so let's drive off. Now, it's not over yet. There's actually a very risky thing I have to do at the end, which can hard lock the game. Not even just soft lock, but it can hard lock the game. And that is handing in the mission. But first I'm going to teleport back to the safe point. There we go. I'm just going to put my car over here, and I'm going to wait for a phone call. This one. Ah, okay. So I didn't get the phone call glitch, sadly. For some reason, I mess it up around here relatively frequently. So I'm going to wait for this phone call to end, and then I'm going to jump inside this marker, but exit it instantly as well. So, since the game thinks that I'm not on a mission, because I can take phone calls and stuff, I'm technically not on a mission, according to the game. I can both hand in the mission that I've completed, and pick it up again at the same time. And if I do that, the game hard locks. So I have to avoid that, I have to stop that from happening. So I'm going to jump into the marker, hold forward, fall off the ledge there, and that allows me to hand in the mission 5 times at the same time, but not pick it up an additional time at the same time, which would break the game even more. Okay, so thank goodness that this worked out. We are pretty much at the end of this run now. There's only 2 missions left, and then we're going to be done. So I entered this car again, knocked off the door as well. Saves me a few seconds later on. I had to re-enter the car anyways, because otherwise it would despawn, and it would make me fail the next mission, guaranteed. Just waiting for a phone call now. So normally this phone call would appear only after you've completed 6 separate assets. I've done 2 of them. But I did one of them 5 times at the same time, hence the game is confused into thinking I did 6 of them. And at this point in the storyline, Sonny gets kind of annoyed because the protagonist, Tommy, who was supposed to get some money back for Sonny after a deal went wrong, and he didn't really do it. He just kind of got sidetracked and decided to build himself a huge empire instead. And now Sonny's coming over and he wants to, you know, take over Tommy's empire, basically. And I have to stop that from happening. I've only got 1 asset that Sonny could take over, and if he succeeds in taking over that asset, I fail the mission. Printworks cannot be taken over. It's only Boatyard right here that can be taken over, and this is the shortest asset, which is why we do this one. Technically, you could actually skip Boatyard as well, but that would fail this mission instantly every single time. You would not be able to complete the game. You'd need 1 additional asset next to Printworks. But yeah, there's 3 sets of 2 gang members trying to take over Boatyard, and I'm just going to stop them all before they even come close to it. They always come driving in from the northern side of the island. I don't know why precisely, that just seems to be their spawning point. For the next guys, I'm going to get out of my car and just snipe them off their bike as they're driving towards me. I'm going to stop off around here, crouched, increase my accuracy, and hopefully shoot both of them down. Yeah, we got it. A fun glitch that can sometimes happen is that the bike keeps on driving on its own, even though there is no actual driver. Okay, for the next guys, I'm actually going to drive moderately slowly. I found that if you don't drive towards them at max speed, they don't crash into this wooden pole. Otherwise, they're pretty much guaranteed to crash into this specific wooden pole, fall off their bike, and they take forever to get back on it. So I don't know if they crashed into it now. They might have actually done it, unfortunately. Kind of seems like it. But one of them is already driving in my direction, so I'll just take him out as he's driving past me. Oh, okay. I've got plenty of time to catch up with them. It's no problem if I don't get them straight away. As long as I get both of them, that's the most important thing. Okay. What very often happens here as well is that you, after doing the Printworks 2 glitching, the streetlights kind of freak out. You might have noticed that they're extremely bright compared to what they're supposed to be. Sometimes they give off purple light as well and green light and just kind of switch around. And you get this amazing disco throughout the city. Anyway, one last phone call left, one last mission left, and after that we're done. Just going to jump over this wall because it's slightly faster.
Tommy, it's Lance. We got big problems. Come down here right away.
So yeah, in the storyline, Sonny shows up himself now, and it turns out that Lance actually betrays me. And he kind of sells out to Sonny. And now I have to defend myself, defend my mansion, defend my empire. There's loads of gang members spawning in the around the mansion, and they all try to kill me off and take all my money. As it turns out, if you run into this room and you just stand still, don't move the mouse, you just don't move at all, nothing spawns. And you can just kind of wait around. As soon as you start moving the mouse, the AI suddenly figures out how to actually enter the mansion and they'll start attacking you. So yeah, there's basically like 1 minute where you can kind of relax and have a drink or whatever, have a toilet break. Although at the end of the run that's not the most useful timing for that, I guess. But yeah, after the first minute, Lance is going to spawn. I'm going to take out Lance. There's two ways of doing it. You can either just kill him with a chainsaw, which is the fancy way of doing it, but also very risky. I'm going to go for the standard way and just chase him down, chase him up on the roof and shoot him down over there. Once Lance is dead, it takes exactly a minute for Sonny to spawn as well, and once you take Sonny out, the game is over. You've won.
No one to cover your ass now, eh, Tommy? You're going down, you backstabbing prick. Oh, you think
So this mission is actually on a timer. Like, the entire mission is on a timer. It takes about 2.5 minutes to complete, and there's very little you can do to speed it up. So I can take my time and just shoot a couple of these gang members if I want to. Oh, this guy's still alive. That's surprising. Lance does a lot of damage, by the way, and I have to be careful that I don't bump into a bunch of guys, because Tommy can actually kind of stumble and die because of it. I think I'm going to go for the fancy ending. Okay, I'll go for the fancy ending because I'm going to be way ahead of estimate anyways, and this is risky because I could die because of it, but it looks a lot more entertaining. So instead of shooting Sonny, I'm just going to drive over him inside the mansion. I've got a flat tire already, and that's actually really bad. So we'll see how this works out. Okay, never mind. I can't do it, unfortunately. My car is too damaged, and it's facing a terrible angle. If I would have to correct that, it would not work out anymore. That's a shame, because you can make the car stay inside the building as well and glitch out a cutscene completely. Anyway, get ready on time, because as soon as Sonny is dead, this run is going to be over.
Hey, you still don't get it, do you? I own you, Tommy. Those 15 years were mine to spend.
You get fully healed up as well after this cutscene, fortunately. Alright, he's dead. So, time. What if 443? Well, considering that Lance died, I messed up the duping once. I had to reload that once. That actually was a pretty good time. For a marathon, I'm pretty happy with that.
It looks like you ruined your Tommy. That
Yeah,
was
so
a
hopefully
beautiful suit.
you guys enjoyed it as well. Hopefully you were able to kind of follow along with what was happening during all the fancy duping and stuff. I want to give a big shout out to the entire GTA speedrunning scene. There's a lot of amazing runners out there, and the entire scene is just awesome. This could not have been possible without them. Without them, this run would still be like almost 2 hours long, probably. So special shout outs also to Ractrod, Phil, Oasis for getting the GTA speedrunning scene started in the first place, and MHMD, everybody out there, everybody who ever hangs out in the GTA channel.
What do you think it means?
Yeah. So I'm done for my run. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't remember what is coming up next. I'm sure that it's awesome. I cordially invite you all to stick around for it. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the marathon.
Thanks, guys. From the couch.
Oh yeah, hang on. Blicky, come over here. Good commentary.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much to Adam for running GTA Vice City. And we actually do have Trials Trials Evolution coming up next. Going to be run by The Blaze JP. And we're going to be going to a quick commercial break. We'll see you right after the break.